Your brain is already different from your great-grandmother's, not in a way you can feel, not in a way any doctor could measure in a single afternoon, but deep inside the architecture of your skull, subtle shifts have been accumulating, gene by gene, generation by generation, for thousands of years, and they are not stopping. This is not science fiction. For the last 300,000 years, the human brain has been one of the most rapidly evolving organs on the planet. And according to paleoneurologist Ralph Holloway at Columbia University, who spent decades mapping fossilized brain endocasts, the shape, the wiring, and the priorities of the human brain have never held still. Not once. So what happens when you run that process forward, 100,000 more years into the future? Your descendants would barely recognize the organ sitting inside their own heads. Let's start with what your brain is doing right now, today, without your permission. Your prefrontal cortex, the region just behind your forehead, the part responsible for long-term planning, impulse control, and abstract reasoning, has been expanding in humans for hundreds of thousands of years. It is the most recently evolved region of the brain, and it is still under active selective pressure. Geneticist John Hawks at the University of Wisconsin has identified that the human genome has been evolving faster in the last 10,000 years than at almost any previous point in human history. The shift to agriculture, dense cities, complex social hierarchies, all of it created new evolutionary pressures almost overnight in geological terms. Your brain is the primary target. Now extend that pressure forward, 100,000 years forward. The prefrontal cortex doesn't just grow a little, it reorganizes. Your descendants will carry a version of this region that processes social complexity at a speed and resolution that would make your current brain feel slow. Empathy, threat detection, long-range consequence modeling, not just sharper, but fundamentally restructured, the way a processor redesigned from scratch outperforms one that was merely upgraded. Here's the first thing that surprises people. The brain will not simply get bigger. For most of human evolutionary history, bigger brains were better brains. Homo erectus had a brain roughly 900 cubic centimeters in volume. Homo sapiens today averages about 1,350 cubic centimeters. For 2 million years, more volume meant more survival. But something changed. Anthropologist David Geary at the University of Missouri found evidence that average human brain volume has actually decreased by roughly 10% over the last 10,000 to 20,000 years. Not because humans got less intelligent, because efficiency replaced raw volume. Think of it like this. Early computers filled entire rooms. Modern computers fit in your pocket and are exponentially more powerful. The room-sized machine was not smarter, it was just less refined. Your descendants' brains will be smaller than yours, denser, more metabolically efficient. The brain costs an extraordinary amount of energy. It consumes about 20% of your body's total caloric intake, despite being roughly 2% of your body weight. Evolution relentlessly punishes waste. The brain of 100,000 years from now will do more with less. But size is only the beginning. Picture a body 100,000 years from now. Your descendant sits in a city of 40 million people, or floats in a pressurized habitat above a planet your name has no word for yet. The density of their social world is staggering. Their brain processes the emotional states of hundreds of people simultaneously, not consciously but automatically, the way your brain processes facial expressions right now without effort, but extended to a resolution you cannot currently achieve. Their amygdala, the brain's ancient threat detection system, your inheritance from before humans were human, has not disappeared. But it has been recalibrated. Threats in a hyper-connected world are rarely physical. They are social, informational, environmental. The amygdala of your descendant fires in response to patterns your brain was never designed to detect. Network-level deception, cascading social collapse, systemic resource failure. It reads the herd the way your amygdala reads a dark alley. Their hippocampus, the region that encodes and retrieves memory, has shifted too. For most of human history, individual episodic memory was survival. You needed to remember exactly where the river was, exactly what the predator's track looked like, exactly who had betrayed the group 3 seasons ago. The NASA twin study, which followed astronaut Scott Kelly through a full year aboard the International Space Station, while his identical twin Mark Kelly remained on Earth, found measurable changes in gene expression related to cognitive function after just 12 months in an altered environment. 1 year. Imagine 100,000 years of sustained environmental pressure. In a world where information is externalized, stored, retrieved, cross-referenced instantly by systems outside the skull, the hippocampus stops competing with technology and starts integrating with the behavioral patterns technology creates. Not cyborg implants necessarily, just evolution selecting for brains that work seamlessly alongside external memory systems, the way your brain already works seamlessly alongside language, which is itself an external memory technology your ancestors developed and then evolved to use. Your descendant doesn't remember less, they remember differently. Now here's the twist. The part of the brain most people think will grow, the logical, rational, analytical cortex, is not where the most dramatic evolution will occur. It's the social brain. Neuroscientist Robin Dunbar at Oxford University proposed what became known as the social brain hypothesis. The primary driver of primate brain expansion was not tool use, not hunting, not navigation. It was the cognitive demand of tracking complex social relationships. Who owes what to whom? Who can be trusted? Who is lying? Who is forming an alliance against you? Dunbar found that the size of the neocortex, the outer layer of the brain, the seat of higher cognition, correlates directly with the average social group size of a primate species. Humans already manage far larger social networks than our neocortex was originally built for, which is why social life feels exhausting and why loneliness is one of the most medically damaging conditions a human can experience. 100,000 years of pressure from environments of extreme social density will not produce a brain that is better at math. It will produce a brain that is better at people. The future brain is a social supercomputer. Not cold, not detached, hyper-attuned, capable of reading emotional undercurrents in groups the way you read a single face, capable of holding the emotional and motivational map of dozens of relationships simultaneously, in real time, without fatigue. And the language centers, Broca's area, Wernicke's area, the neural networks underlying communication, will have expanded and connected in ways that make your current capacity for language feel like a rough draft. Your descendant speaks in concepts your language doesn't have words for yet. Not because they are more intelligent in the way you measure intelligence, because the categories of experience their brain automatically generates are richer, more precise, and more interconnected than the ones your brain generates today. Here is what this means for you, right now, in the body you are currently inside. Every social interaction you navigate, the conversation where you read between the lines, the moment you sense a shift in someone's mood before they say a word, the time you talk someone down from a decision you knew was wrong, that is the evolutionary capability your descendants will inherit and amplify. You are not a finished product. You are a transition. The brain behind your eyes, the one processing these words right now, the one that feels like the permanent, final version of human cognition, is a draft. An extraordinary draft, but still a draft. Your great-grandmother's brain was already different from yours, and 100,000 years from now, a descendant you will never meet will carry an organ that grew from everything you are, recalibrated, restructured, refined by pressures you cannot fully imagine, doing something in a single second that would take your current brain a lifetime to approximate. The process never paused. It started long before you arrived, and it did not stop the moment you were born.